Welcome. So in this video we will be covering analysis of single stage reciprocating compressors. A reciprocating compressor is a kind of positive displacement compressor which against fans and blowers can give us high pressures. If you want to distinguish compressor from fan and blower, then fan can give you pressure ratio, which means the delivery pressure to the inlet pressure less than 1.1, and blower can give you pressure ratio which is less than 2.5. So compressors basically they are the power consuming devices which are used to get higher pressure ratios. You can classify compressors based on number of stages. So you can have a single stage compressor. So the pressure ratio requirement, if it is lower, then you can go for a single stage compressor. If you require high pressures, then you have another category which is multi-stage compressor, where the pressure ratios often are quite high. Again, based on delivery pressure, if the delivery pressure is less than 10 bar, then you can call that compressor as a low pressure compressor. And generally for obtaining this pressures, delivery pressures, either you can go for single stage compressor or at the most two stage compressor. Then as far as medium pressure compressors are concerned, the delivery pressure is not more than 80 bar, and if the pressure is greater than 80 bar, delivery pressure is greater than 80 bar, then you can place that compressor in a high pressure compressor category. Again, using various cooling methods you can classify the compressor. One is air cooled compressor. So if the pressure ratio is low, then generally you can use air cooled compressor. Otherwise, for obtaining low pressure, you are actually investing more. You need to have a complicated mechanism for or complicated system for cooling the compressor using water. But if you are having higher pressure ratios, or if the delivery pressure is very high, then you go for a water cooled compressor, where you have a cooling mechanism or a cooling system which consists of jackets around the cylinders of the compressor. Then this water is again cooled using cooling tower or a cooler, separate cooler, and again recirculated back to the compressor. So this is a complicated mechanism, but if the pressure ratios are very high, then we need to use water cooling, water cooled compressors. Again, when we talk about reciprocating compressor, you can have two types of compressors. One is single acting compressor, and second one is double acting compressor. Now as far as single acting compressor is concerned, I have this figure where you can easily understand this principle. In case of single acting compressor, if this is a piston, then air is compressed only on one side of the piston. That means air is taken in through this suction side. This is suction valve or intake valve. Then air is sucked in, piston moves in the downward direction, air is sucked in, it is compressed and delivered to the receiver. So this is delivery side and this is delivery valve. So if air is compressed only on one side of the piston, then it is called as a single acting compressor. But you can also have an arrangement in which air can be compressed on both the sides of the piston. So when piston is moving in the upward direction, you will have suction at the bottom. When piston again moves in the downward direction, then you will have compression on the bottom side and suction on the top side. So when top portion is in suction, lower portion will be in compression, and when top portion is in compression, lower portion will be in suction. So on both the sides of the piston you can have suction and delivery or compression of air. But then the power requirement will also be double in this case, because both the sides are being subjected to suction and compression. So power requirement will be double. Capacity of the compressor, again it is given by pi by 4 d square into L. So this is the capacity of compressor on one side. Similarly, for double acting compressor, the capacity will be double. As far as PV diagram is concerned, it is quite simple. You can easily draw a PV diagram on the graph. So pressure versus volume. The first process, that is suction process, is at a pressure, so cylinder pressure should be lower than atmospheric pressure, then only suction will occur and this valve will open and suction takes place. So this P1 is slightly less than atmospheric pressure. Then you have movement of the piston in the upward direction when there will be compression. Compression can be of three types. The first one is adiabatic, where you don't allow any heat to flow out of the walls. Then second one is polytropic. So here the adiabatic, when you are talking about adiabatic compression process, the adiabatic index is, for air it is 1.4. When you talk about polytropic compression, then you have the index which is in between 1 to 1.4, less than 1.4. And then the third process which is possible or which can be used in compression is PV equal to constant. It is an isothermal process where the temperature throughout the compression process remains constant. But this is an ideal process. In actual case, you cannot obtain same temperature throughout the compression process. There is always generation of heat, rise in the temperature because of the friction between the piston and the cylinder, and when the air is pressurized, the temperature of air also rises. So you will never get isothermal compression process. There are various ways of increasing this or reducing the temperature inside the cylinder. One is you provide proper cooling system. Second one is you can actually inject some amount of water and reduce the temperature inside the cylinder. But then at the end of the compression process, in the delivery system, you need to have a separate moisture removing system which will remove moisture from air, and dry air is supplied to the receiver. So this is compression process, and finally air is delivered to the receiver when pressure rises or the pressure inside the cylinder is greater than receiver pressure. So these three processes are important. One is suction. Suction occurs at lower pressure, lower than atmospheric. Then compression. Compression can be adiabatic, polytropic or isothermal. Isothermal is the ideal process. Adiabatic process is the most power consuming process, and polytropic process is in between. So generally in actual case you have a polytropic compression process, and then finally air is. Next thing is to obtain work done or work which is required for compression. So that can be done in two ways. One is without considering the clearance, and second one is considering the clearance. Now without considering the clearance means whatever air is sucked into the cylinder will be totally delivered to the receiver. That means piston reaches the topmost portion and it doesn't allow any air to remain in the cylinder. So in PV diagram you can easily draw this process as process 4.1. So this process 4.1 is the process in which suction of air occurs inside the cylinder. Then the second process is the compression process, which is shown here as process 1 to 2. So during which the piston moves in the upward direction, compresses air which is present inside the cylinder. So it goes on compressing air, and at point 2 the pressure of air inside the cylinder is greater than pressure of air in the receiver. So this delivery valve will open and air is delivered to the receiver, and this is process 2.3, which is delivery of air to the receiver. Now, how to obtain work which is required for compression? So, that is very easy. So, you can use simple basics of thermodynamics to obtain this work. So, we know that area behind this curve gives us the work done. So, what we can do is we can divide this total area into three parts. One is the process, one is the area below 3 2. So, that is this rectangular area which you see here. Second area is the area below curve 2 1. So, this is this area, and the third area which we need to subtract actually is the area below process 4 1. So, this is again second rectangular area. So, this area plus this area below curve 2 1 minus this area will give us the area behind curve 2 1. So, that is written here mathematically. So, this area is P2 into V2. So, that is written here. And second area is P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by n minus 1. So, this is from basics of thermodynamics. And the third area is this area which is below curve 4 1, which is given as P1 V1, which is subtracted from these two areas. So, if you simplify it, you can take P2 V2 minus P1 V1 common. So, whatever remains in the bracket, that if you simplify, it gives us n by n minus 1. Again, you can take P1 V1 common. So, it gives us P2 V2 by P1 V1 minus 1 in the bracket. And actually, you can apply this PV raised to n equal to constant law to any point which lie on a curve in between 1 to 2. So, if I apply it for point 1 and point 2, then it can be written as P1 V1 raised to n, that is equal to P2 V2 raised to n. We need to substitute V2 by V1 in terms of P2 by P1. So, if I simplify that, I will get V2 by V1 as P1 by P2 raised to minus 1 by n, and once I substitute it, I can simplify it further. I will get work done as n by n minus 1 P1 V1 in bracket P2 by P1 n minus 1 by n minus 1. You can also write P1 V1 as MRT1. If you consider m equal to 1 kg, it can be written as n by n minus 1 RT1, where R is 287 joules per kg Kelvin for air. So, you can substitute that, and T is in Kelvin. So, this is suction temperature which you generally know. So, you can easily obtain work which is required for compression using this simple expression. So, using this PV diagram, you can easily obtain work which is required for compression. Either you can use the terms P and V, that is P1 into V1, or R into T1, whichever is known, you can use that. Now, if there is unclearance, then what will be the change in expression? So, now again suction starts from point A to point 1, then there is a compression from 1 to 2, and then air is delivered from 2 to 3. Now, 3 to B is the area where you have clearance. So, this VC indicates the clearance volume. So, piston is reaching the topmost position, and that point is point 3. It cannot travel beyond point 3. So, some air, compressed air, remains in the clearance. Now, this air which remains, pressurized air which remains in the clearance, will again expand. So, let us assume that it follows the law PV raised to n equal to constant. So, we draw another curve which starts from point 3, that is expansion curve, and it ends at point 4. And we know that suction in the cylinder starts only after the pressure inside the cylinder is below atmospheric pressure. So, point 4 is the point at which pressure inside the cylinder during suction, where the pressure inside the cylinder is less than atmospheric pressure. So, point 4 is the point at which suction will start. So, now suction will not start from point A, which was observed in the case where there was no clearance, but it will start from point 4 and it will end at point 1. So, swept volume, if you consider the swept volume, it is from point 3 to point 1, that is from this point to point 1. So, this is total swept volume, but the actual volume which is sucked in is less than swept volume, and here the clearance effect comes into play. Now, what will be the work which is required for compression in this case? So, it is very easy, since we have already obtained work which is required if there is no clearance, and that is the work that is the area behind curve 2 1. So, that we already know. So, I will directly write an expression for the work or the area behind curve 2 1, which is n by n minus 1 P1 V1 P2 by P1 n minus 1 by n minus 1. So, this is taken from the earlier analysis, minus you need only this much area. So, if I subtract this area behind 3 4, then I will get this area. So, what I will do is, I have already written an expression for area behind curve 2 1. Now, what I will do is, I will subtract area behind 3 4 from 2 1 to get this area. So, that I have done. So, minus n by n minus 1. Now, here instead of P1 V1, it should be P4 V4. So, that I have written, and the pressure ratio is P3 by P4. So, remaining expression remains the same, but the pressure and volume will change, and that changes we have made here. Now, you should know that P2 by P1 and P3 by P4, P2 by P1 and P3 by P4, they are same. So, you can take this bracket common. So, that bracket is taken common, and P1 and P4 are also same, P1 and P4 are also same, and when you simplify it, you will get an expression which is n by n minus 1 P1 V1 minus V4 in bracket P2 by P1 n minus 1 by n minus 1. Now, the only change which you will observe here is in the volume. So, in case of where we have not considered the clearance, the total volume V1 was same as swept volume, but in this case it is not the swept volume, rather it is slightly reduced, which is equal to VA. So, V1 minus V4, that is VA. So, this is also called as the free air delivered, because generally the suction conditions, they are nearer to the free air conditions. So, free air delivered is the air which is sucked into the cylinder, and the volume is reduced to the free air condition. Generally, free air conditions are taken to be 101,325 bar and 15 degrees Celsius. So, you can also get this volume in terms of FAD, but for now you can just remember that the VA is same as V1 minus V4, and it can be taken as FAD. So, n by n minus 1 P1 VA P2 by P1 n minus 1 by n minus 1, that is the work expression which we have obtained. So, earlier the only difference was, instead of P1 VA, it was P1 V1. So, this VA is slightly reduced because of the clearance. That is only the difference, otherwise the remaining terms are same. The next parameter which we can calculate is important, because as I told you, when there is an clearance effect, the actual volume which is sucked in is reduced, it is not equal to swept volume. But then, as far as work is concerned, since this is a power consuming device, maximum amount of volume should be sucked in, so that the work which is required per kg of air is minimum. So, volumetric efficiency is given as actual volume which is sucked in divided by swept volume. So, as I told you, the swept volume is the capacity of the cylinder, but the actual volume, because of the clearance, is the actual volume which is sucked in is always less than Swept volume. So what is it? It is V1 minus V4. From this PV diagram you can always say that VA is equal to V1 minus V4 if you use this notations. So, and V1, what is V1? It is clearance volume plus swept volume, that gives you V1. So, if I substitute that, then I am getting this as the expression where V1 is written as Vs plus Vc minus V4 divided by swept volume. Now, again I can apply this law P3 V3 raised to n, that is equal to P2 P4 V4 raised to n, and P1 V1 raised to n, that is equal to P2 V2 raised to n. So, if I simplify, I need V4 in terms of V3 is same as clearance volume, V3 is same as clearance volume. So, I can write V4 in terms of V3 as P3 by P4 raised to 1 by n into V3. Now, P3 by P4 is same as P2 by P1. So, this can also be written as P2 by P1 raised to 1 by n, and V3 is same as Vc. So, now if I substitute V4 as this term in this equation, and if I simplify it, then I will get volumetric efficiency as 1 plus Vc by Vs minus V4 by Vs, where V4 is P2 by P1 raised to 1 by n into Vc. So, if I substitute it and simplify, and if I take Vc by Vs as C, then I will get an expression of volumetric efficiency as 1 plus C minus P2 by P1 raised to 1 by n into C, and if I take C common, which is Vc by Vs, I will get this in the bracket, and if I take P2 by P1 raised to 1 by n term in the front, then I will just change this sign, and my final expression becomes volumetric efficiency equal to 1 minus C, which is Vc by Vs, in bracket P2 by P1 raised to 1 by n minus 1. So, this is my final expression for volumetric efficiency, and you can see that volumetric efficiency will go on reducing if pressure ratio P2 by P1 goes on increasing. So, if this term increases, this whole term will increase and it will reduce the volumetric efficiency. This can also be explained from this curve. If I increase this pressure ratio here, then this is clearance. So, again the actual volume sucked in will go on decreasing. So, volumetric efficiency always reduces with the increase in pressure ratio. So, what we have derived is work which is required for compression without clearance, with clearance, and we have obtained an expression for volumetric efficiency. Thank you.